Hello, this is Starwin Schurig, president of Schurig Solutions Incorporated.
And Josh Mayo, account executive.
We are excited to share with you our headlines for this week's SSI in the News developments. We're going to start with really positive news in January from our local Indiana pharmaceutical powerhouse, Eli Lilly, as they released initial results from their Phase 3 Blaze 2 COVID-19 prevention trial. Actually had over 1,000 skilled nursing facility staff and patients in this study enrolled across the United States. The trial started with 965 participants who tested negative at baseline and 132 participants that actually tested positive. After all these participants reached the 8-week mark of the trial, candidates that received the LY-CoV 555 treatment, which is the shortened name for the longer version, which I'll actually take a shot at later. They showed significantly lower frequency of symptomatic COVID. There were only 16 total deaths during the trial, and only 4 of those were related to COVID patients in the placebo arm of the trial versus the Bamlanivimab arm, which is the actual name of the product. This product is a monoclonal antibody and shows that early intervention with appropriate antivirals in our more vulnerable populations is critical. As nursing homes typically don't conduct clinical trials, the Blaze 2 is a first of its kind COVID-19 trial, which was designed to help our vulnerable elderly population.
Our next COVID-related headline has to do with the great success that's been seen across the United States so far in regards to the effectiveness of the Moderna coronavirus vaccine, which is actually the vaccine that you received,
It is. I got my second one last Saturday.
So it has, however, been found to be less effective against the South African variant of the disease that was discovered. And because of this, Moderna is exploring a third shot that would act as a variant-specific booster for certain variants. This third shot is moving into preclinical studies right now and will initially target that strain from South Africa before they start exploring other variants that have been found throughout Europe. While leaders at Moderna are confident that their current shot will continue to protect against these new variants, they do understand the importance of being extremely proactive as this virus evolves. Additionally, Pfizer, with their partner BioNTech, said in December that their vaccine has consistently neutralized multiple mutant strains as well, and so they are continuing to collect their data so they can continue to monitor these different variants.
And you'll see with one of the additional COVID, all of our headlines are relevant to COVID. There's another one that we're going to talk about that ties into these variant strains as well. So the next topic we're going to talk about is Regeneron. The pandemic is moving towards a year now in the United States since it began last March. Certainly, I think this is going to be one of those things where everybody knows where they're at, knew where they were at, will remember where they were at when this started. It's been a challenging year, and needless to say, I'm pretty sure we're all ready for this pandemic to end. Even with 2 vaccines already being administered and a third one on the way, which we'll talk about, there's still major challenges and obviously concerns. Demand is obviously ahead of supply at this point, and even with over 50 companies, which we've talked about in previous headlines, trying to bring a vaccine to the market in this past year, many have struggled to obtain positive results in their initial clinical trials. As an example, we got disappointing news last week when Merck surprisingly dropped out of the vaccine race unexpectedly because of their disappointing phase 1 trial results. Last week, New York-based Regeneron shared potentially really positive news for an alternative option as they released preliminary data on their ongoing phase 3 clinical trials for the antibody cocktail called REGEN-COV as a possible passive vaccination alternative to those that have been exposed to family members that have the coronavirus. Initial data comes from 409 of the 2,000 patients that are enrolled in this prevention trial. The complete results won't be available until early in the second quarter. However, the drug has been 100% effective in preventing COVID symptoms, slashed overall rate of infection by 50%. And for those that were infected, there were no symptoms, and patients showed a shorter duration of viral shredding, which essentially means they are potentially less likely to spread the virus to somebody else. Lastly, the drug is also administered as an injection instead of an infusion, which makes the administration process easier.